You are not overthinking because your mind is too active or too intelligent. You are overthinking because you are trying to control what was never yours to command. The chaos you feel is not a lack of discipline. It is a misplacement of authority within your own mind. Your days begin before your body is ready. Thoughts arrive fully armed. Regrets from yesterday. Imagine disasters from tomorrow. Conversations replayed with new endings. Words you should have said. Choices you wish you had made. Your mind never stands still. Even in silence, it speaks. You try to fix it the modern way. More information, more planning, more mental effort. You believe clarity comes from thinking harder, from rehearsing every outcome until nothing can surprise you. But the more you chase certainty, the louder the noise becomes. Overthinking disguises itself as responsibility, as intelligence, as preparation. You tell yourself you are protecting your future. But beneath that story lives quiet exhaustion. Your jaw tightens without notice. Your breath shortens. Rest feels undeserved. Sleep becomes something to negotiate with, not something you enter willingly. Most people live this way for years, capable on the surface, fractured underneath. They perform well, but never arrive anywhere internally. Their mind is always ahead of them, dragging their nervous system into futures that do not exist. This is the hidden root of overthinking. Not fear itself, but resistance to reality. Not anxiety, but the refusal to accept uncertainty. And this is why common solutions fail. They try to defeat thoughts instead of correcting the authority structure behind them. But centuries ago, Stoic philosophers discovered something modern culture has forgotten. They lived surrounded by instability, war, exile, sudden loss, disease. Yet they wrote about calm as something trained, not wished for. Their secret was not positive thinking, not mental suppression, not endless analysis. It was control through alignment. Based on Stoic writings and lived practice, their method was clear and uncompromising. Separate what belongs to you from what never will. Govern the inner domain completely. Release everything else without argument. For the Stoics, overthinking was not a thinking problem. It was a boundary problem. The mind suffers when it assumes responsibility for outcomes it cannot command. This wisdom endured not because it was comforting, but because it worked. It produced clarity under pressure, stillness under chaos, strength without tension. Overthinking begins where responsibility becomes blurred. The Stoics started by drawing a hard line. They divided life into two domains. What depends on you and what does not. Your judgments, your intentions, your actions. These are yours, outcomes, opinions, timing, the future. These are not. When the mind tries to manage both, it fractures. Modern thinking encourages total control. Stoicism teaches selective command. Mental clarity emerges when effort is invested only where influence exists. Everything else becomes background noise. A Stoic once compared the mind to a city with walls. Inside the walls, order. Outside, weather. The city does not argue with the storm. It reinforces its gates. Begin each day by silently naming what is yours to command. Act only within that boundary. Let the rest pass without negotiation. But knowing the line is not enough. Discipline must be embodied. A restless mind is rarely weak. It is usually misdirected. The Stoics did not attempt to stop thought. They trained the mind to move without attachment. Thoughts were treated as passing travelers, acknowledged, never hosted. Overthinking survives through engagement. Stillness emerges through restraint. Modern culture teaches expression. Stoicism teaches containment, not suppression, but regulation. The mind calms when it is no longer rewarded for repetition. Imagine holding water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. Hold it calmly, and it remains. When a thought returns again and again, do nothing. Do not argue with it. Do not correct it. Do not explain it. Let it pass without commentary. This is where most people fail, and where mastery begins. The Stoics trained calm by meeting discomfort voluntarily. Overthinking feeds on avoidance. The mind exaggerates pain it has never faced. Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort to dissolve fear at its root. Cold, hunger, silence, simplicity, these were not punishments, they were calibrations. Psychologically, this builds resilience. Emotionally, it restores proportion. The mind learns that discomfort is survivable. Fear loses its leverage. A Stoic would sleep on the floor occasionally, reminding himself that comfort was optional, not essential. Choose one small discomfort daily. No distraction, no complaint. Observe how fear weakens when it is no longer avoided. But discipline alone is not enough. Control must be anchored. True control is not force, it is position. The Stoics spoke of an inner citadel, a place within untouched by chaos. This stronghold was built through values, not emotions. When actions align with principles, the mind settles. Inner conflict dissolves. Modern thinking asks how you feel. Stoicism asks who you are. A general does not chase every skirmish. He protects the capital. Define a small set of non-negotiable principles. Act from them regardless of mood. Overthinking fades when identity becomes stable, when you no longer negotiate with yourself. When these principles operate together, something profound happens. You stop arguing with your thoughts. You stop rehearsing disasters. You stop demanding certainty before acting. The mind grows quieter, not because it is empty, but because it is aligned. The body notices first. Your breath deepens, your shoulders lower. Sleep returns without effort. Decisions feel clean. You act, then release. This is stoic calm, not passive, not numb, unshakable. Clarity replaces urgency. Strength replaces anxiety. The mind becomes a tool again, not a tyrant. This is not mental silence. It is mental authority. You were never meant to control everything. You were meant to govern yourself. If your mind feels loud, this is your reminder. You do not need more thinking. You need clearer boundaries. You do not need motivation. You need alignment. Begin with one act today. Release what is not yours. Act fully on what is. Peace is not found by calming the mind. It is earned by mastering its domain.